Tonight, we celebrate a monumental moment. One World Trade Center opens for business after 13 years of construction. The 9/11 commemorative skyscraper has a new lease on life, and it is beautiful.
Later, a woman embraces a death and dignity, the story of a terminal patient whose story has enlightened millions just ahead.
Plus, tonight is election night, why it is so important to vote in each and every election. We'll get you in the know later in our broadcast.
Hello, and welcome to MCTV Weekly News Update. Today is November 4th, 2014. I'm Nadia Ahmed.
And I'm Peter Malavenda. Tonight we are celebrating the opening of an iconic American structure. On Monday, One World Trade Center opened its doors for the first time for a firm to work in the building since the 9/11 terrorist attacks. The company's CEO expressed his excitement on behalf of his company and all of New York City. Director of Policy and Control for the new firm expressed that, quote, "I think people are nervous, but most people are just excited to start downtown. New tenants are refusing to live in fear, instead embracing a great view from an even greater place." Wow, Nadia, I am so happy to have the One World Trade Center open for business again. I remember the first time I actually saw it driving down the West Side Highway in New York City. It's simply beautiful, and this is a great moment for New Yorkers to celebrate.
Absolutely. I think this is a really huge moment. It's going to go down in history, kind of. I remember, to be honest, I haven't seen it yet. So I'm excited to kind of go check it out now.
You should go check it out. It's beautiful. And good
Absolutely.
for this company for getting in there and getting the ball rolling.
Absolutely.
Right?
As of 9 o'clock this evening, voting polls have now closed. So we hope you casted your vote. While these elections may not catch your attention nearly as much as presidential election, those elected will have serious influence over many important issues, such as education, reform, and immigration. Currently, the Republicans hold the House and Democrats hold the Senate, which has been one of the main reasons the government has had trouble agreeing on certain issues. However, this may change after this election. The voting results are expected to be in by as early as 10 p.m. tonight.
Even though the next presidential election is 2 years away, there has still been speculation as to who will be the 2016 ballot. In an interview with CNN's chief political analyst Gloria Borger on Sunday, Vice President Joe Biden spoke about the possibility of running for president in 2016. Biden cleared up that speculation that he would only be running if Hillary Clinton ran as well, stating that her potential presidential campaigning would have no effect on his decision to run in the election. Instead, Biden said, quote, "If I run, I'm confident I will be able to mount a campaign that is going to be credible, and I'm going to be serious."
From the ballot to the box office, there's plenty happening in Hollywood this week. Here's our pop culture expert, Andrew Auger, with This Week in Entertainment.
Hey everyone, it's Andrew Auger from the Middle Seats, and this is This Week in Entertainment. As of late, Taylor Swift has been telling her fans to shake it off, but this latest piece of news has some of her fans asking, why you gotta be so mean? Fresh on the heels of the release of Swift's new album, 1989, Swift made the decision to pull all of her music off of streaming provider Spotify. The decision by Swift and her team to deprive the 40 million users of Spotify of the pop country star's music has once again reignited the debate over the fair and free distribution of music on the internet. In an expose Swift wrote for the Wall Street Journal back in July, she said, quote, "It's my opinion that music should not be free, and my prediction is that individual artists and their labels will someday decide what an album's price point is," end quote. Only time will tell if Swift changes her mind on the subject, as the Twitter campaign for and against her decision have both begun. If you're Team Swift, it's hashtag no stream. If you're Team Spotify, it's hashtag just say yes. If you don't care or don't like Taylor Swift, it's hashtag I want tacos because I wanted tacos at the time I was writing this. In the rest of an otherwise slow week for news, the cast of the new season of The Celebrity Apprentice was announced, and it's packed to the brim with formerly relevant stars such as Kevin Jonas, Sharknado star Ian Ziering, NFL football all-star Terrell Owens, and reality show figure Kate Gosselin. For Gosselin, this is her third reality show appearance, which may be one of the saddest records ever to beat. The Celebrity Apprentice, which will feature some of the final appearances of Joan Rivers before her passing in September, will premiere on January 4th. Upcoming Saturday Night Live hosts and musical acts include Woody Harrelson, Cameron Diaz, Kendrick Lamar, and the combo of Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars. Harrelson will be promoting the highly anticipated The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, while Diaz will be promoting musical remake Annie. In weekly box office news, Ouija held onto the top spot over a quiet Halloween weekend, taking in $11 million. Jake Gyllenhaal thriller Nightcrawler was second with $10 million, while Fury was third with $8 million. This weekend at the movies sees one of the biggest box office competitions of the year. In one corner is the first Disney-Marvel animated collaboration, as Big Hero 6 is their first animated release since the roaring success of Frozen last winter. In the other corner is one of the most anticipated films of the year, as director Christopher Nolan's sci-fi epic Interstellar will take audiences to faraway galaxies this Friday. The film will be released on IMAX theaters tomorrow, Wednesday, November 5th, and standard theaters on Friday. That's all for entertainment this week. I'm Andrew Auger. That's all I have to say. You can catch my show, The Middle Seats, almost every week, only on MCTV. Back to you guys.
And from Hollywood to Halloween, it seems that Marist is still recovering from another Hallow weekend. Anyone who went outside for even a few minutes Friday saw plenty of skin, sarcasm, and stupidity. Dressing up and heading out is a large part of a Marist student's culture. Thankfully, the story here isn't about anyone getting into trouble. Here at MCTV News, we just feel the need to discuss some of this year's most eye-catching costumes. Ebola doctors, cats, sexy Uncle Sam. I saw it all, and I know they're probably laughing about that in the control room, but I saw it. What do you think?
I don't know how I feel about the Ebola doctor one. It's kind of a touchy subject right now. But I did see Orange is the New Black. I saw 4 girls dressed as presidents. I know Abe Lincoln was one of them, actually. So kind of interesting Halloween this year.
Right, I feel like people want to do something topical. They want to do Ebola. I even saw some ISIS costumes. Not good, not okay at all. Don't do that, guys. But it was a good time. It was a Halloween weekend at Marist.
I mean, everyone was running out to Target for their costumes.
Everyone was running out to Target for their costumes.
Last minute.
Everyone goes to Target, right?
And speaking of Target,
what about Target?
Speaking of Target, who knew that bagging a few dorm essentials could get you to the top of every social media feed? I'm talking about Alex from Target.
Oh, this kid. He is taking his newfound fame and rolling with it. What is up with that? Let's ask Briana Flynn. What's up, Briana?
What's up, Marist? I'm Briana Flynn, and unless you've been avoiding your Halloween photos on social media, you've probably seen the latest trending hashtag, Alex from Target. The way the news is handling it, you'd think we got a new president. But looking into it, there's honestly not much to talk about. Basically, someone took a picture of a high school Target employee named Alex. Someone else tweeted it, and then thousands more started retweeting it, and now Alex has over 330,000 followers on Twitter. You know, normal day in the life. Now Alex has gone completely viral and is the subject of like 100 new memes, including a vine of photos of him set to Nick Jonas' Jealous, and a tweet that says, RT in 7 seconds or you'll never meet him. Don't take any chances, guys. Go retweet that one. Alex didn't really seem too fazed. His response was, quote, am I famous now? So what the real takeaway from this is, now is officially the easiest time to get your 15 minutes of fame. If you're interested in being the next hashtag blank from Marist, here are tips for becoming internet famous, inspired by Alex himself. 1, be like at least semi-cute. Apparently, the main criteria for anyone on the internet being interested in you is if you vaguely look like 2011 Justin Bieber. So you'll be set. Get that bowl cut ready. 2, work with an older crowd. Obviously, Alex from Target stood out considering the rest of his employees were probably at least in their 30s. So if you're gonna be bagging groceries, you might as well be the best looking one at the cash register. You never know who's gonna have their Snapchat out and ready. Next, make sure you're already active on social media. People were able to find Alex and make him into a real celebrity because he's already been tweeting for a little while. And finally, just have good timing. It's possible that Alex spread like wildfire because there's still like 3 weeks before One Direction's new album comes out, and Miley really hasn't done anything crazy since her tour ended. So nice job, Alex. You picked the perfect time to shine. And that's pretty much it. Becoming an internet sensation is definitely hit or miss, but I have faith in you guys. Alex from Target will be old news by Thursday, so make sure you get in there while you can. I'm Briana Flynn, and that's what's up. Back to you guys.
Now, sad news for young trick-or-treaters this weekend, especially for 2 families in Southern California. A speeding truck struck and killed 3 13-year-old girls, including a set of twins, in a residential area of Santa Ana Friday night. The girls were crossing the street near an elementary school when they were hit by a truck that was traveling 50 miles per hour, nearly twice the speed limit. They were pronounced dead on the scene. The suspects fled on foot and are currently being searched for by local authorities.
Tonight there is closure for the family of the only missing passenger from the Costa Concordia cruise ship disaster. The remains of Russell Rebello were recovered yesterday during a scrapping of the cruise ship in Genoa, Italy. The disaster killed 32 in the January 2012 incident when the ship ran aground, but only 31 bodies were recovered. The discovery of Rebello's remains makes him the last and final victim accounted for.
Have you ever wished that it could rain money? Well, for many drivers this weekend on a highway in Maryland, that dream came true. On October 31st, a locking mechanism on an armored car stopped working and the doors burst open. A bag of cash fell onto the Interstate 270 and sent money flying everywhere. Drivers proceeded to stop their cars, climb out, and grab as much cash as they could before the authorities showed up. The police helped the armored car collect around $200, but the total amount that was lost is not known. I don't know about you, but I've definitely dreamt about money falling from the sky.
Being in the right place at the right time. I was not on this interstate. I wish I was. I could have used some money. I have these big $100 bills that I keep in my car, and I wish I brought them here. We could have made it rain in Studio A. It would have been fantastic.
I would have had a blast.
Would it not have been? We need real money, though. And it may have been raining money for those very, very lucky people out on that interstate. But let me tell you something. What about the actual rain? Let's go to Abby Prowant with your weekly highs and lows report.
Hi, everyone. Hope you all had a great Halloween weekend. So far this week, it's been pretty windy here at Marist. Other parts of the country are getting snow right now, so I guess we're not doing so badly. Areas in New England, such as Maine, have been experiencing the first snowfalls of the year. As a result of this, over 150,000 customers of power companies throughout 6 states in the Northeast were without power on Sunday night. Also on Sunday, high winds knocked down many trees and power lines in upstate New York, causing more than 15,000 people to lose electrical service. The highest concentration of lost power in upstate New York was reportedly around the lower Hudson Valley, specifically the Dutchess and Putnam counties. Meanwhile, in Poughkeepsie, the past few days have been alternating between cloudy and sunny. It's also safe to say that the winds aren't going to let up anytime soon. Make sure you bring an umbrella to class the rest of the week, because from Wednesday on, there's a good chance that it's already raining. Thanks for the update, Karen. Now on to our almanac. It appears that today's high temperature averaged out at 67 degrees, while the low temperature came out to 36. Now, that's not too far off from the day's average high of 68 and low of 43. Those temps are slightly different from the high of 87 and low of 30. Also, today's sunrise happened at 5:46 a.m., while the sunset occurred just before 8. Tonight, expect to see mostly cloudy skies with a low temperature of 43 degrees, a 4% chance of precipitation, 62% chance of humidity, and a light southerly wind. Tomorrow, expect a slight chance of showers with a high of 64, a 20% chance of precipitation, and westerly winds at 6 miles per hour. Rain is also likely for Thursday, as well as a high of 55 and a low of 45. We'll have partially cloudy skies on Friday, with a high of 50 and a low of 35. Expect a few showers for both Saturday and Sunday, with Saturday's temps at a high of 47 and a low of 35. And a high of 51 and a low of 36 for Sunday. On Monday, we'll have AM showers as well as a high of 48 and a low of 35. That's all for this tonight with your weekly highs and lows report. I'm Abby Prowant. Back to you, Peter.
Thank you, Abby. The Hudson Psychiatric Center on Route 9 was the site of a violent rape that resulted in arrest this past weekend. Following an investigation by the town police and Department of Corrections, 45-year-old Michael Arciola was arrested and charged with predatory assault after raping a woman he was acquainted with on the grounds of the psychiatric center. Arciola is a level 3 sex offender and was previously convicted in 2002 for a similar crime involving an ex-girlfriend. I have never been to the abandoned Hudson Psychiatric Center. I don't think I'm going. That's terrible. I've always worried that something like this is going to go on there, not heavily monitored by authorities. Such a tragic thing.
I mean, it really is an upsetting thing to hear about right now, and I hope that lets, Marist students know, stay away from the psychiatric center. Don't go on those grounds. It's not safe. and maybe they'll do something about it from now on.
I mean, it's a pretty popular Marist attraction. They go all the time, but bad things happen. Clearly,
Absolutely.
bad karma, bad vibes. Don't do it.
Yes.
I agree.
Speaking of psychiatrics and one's health, it's important to take time and understand the health issues affecting ourselves and those around us.
That's right. Here's Elizabeth Naifeh with a brand new segment, Lifestyles with Liz.
Hi, Peter. Brittany Maynard, the 29-year-old face of the controversial Right to Death movement, took her own life Saturday. She captivated millions through social media with her public decision to end her life. Earlier this year, Maynard was diagnosed with an aggressive form of brain cancer called glioblastoma. She was given 6 months to live after hearing what the disease would do to her body in the final stages. She decided that she wanted to die on her own terms. Maynard and her family, including her husband, moved to Oregon, whose Death with Dignity Act allowed hundreds of terminally ill people to end their own lives by taking medication prescribed by doctors. New crash test dummies are being developed to portray the fact that many Americans are overweight. Currently, a typical crash test dummy represents a 167-pound person who is not overweight. ABC News reported that the new dummies under development are going to reflect a severely obese person at 270 pounds. The updated dummies are being created by Humanetics, the only U.S. producer of crash test dummies. Testing on larger dummies will begin by the end of this year, and they'll be available for wider use for sometime next year, according to Humanetics CEO Chris O'Connor. He told ABC News that studies show that obese drivers are 78% more likely to die in a car crash. And Maine has reached a settlement with nurse Casey Hickox, who was briefly quarantined in her home after treating victims of Ebola in West Africa, allowing her to travel freely in public, but requiring her to monitor her health closely and report any symptoms. The settlement filed in nurse Casey Hickox's hometown of Fort Kent in Maine's far north keeps in effect through November 10th. The terms of an order issued by Maine judge on Friday. Hickox returned to the United States last month after treating Ebola patients in Sierra Leone and was quarantined in a tent outside the hospital in New Jersey for 4 days, despite showing no symptoms before being driven to her home in Maine. That's all the news I have for you guys in health today. I recently had the opportunity to sit down with Mara's sophomore singer, Ryan Clark. He performed on the show last week. Here's a bit of what he had to say.
My mom wanted me to play the bagpipes, and I was like, there's no way I'm playing that instrument. So my dad actually went out and picked up a guitar when I was in like 4th grade, I think, and it sat in my room for like 2 years. And then my mom would play the John Mayer Continuum album like all the time in the car. So I started listening to it, and I just fell in love with like just his style and his music and John Mayer himself. He's just such an amazing idol. So that's really who inspired me, and that's how I got into it. And I started playing. My librarian at school actually taught me. He came to my house and taught me. So that's how I like really started playing. So.
Hi, Peter. Brittany Maynard, the 29-year-old face of the controversial Right to Death
News
movement,
from across the pond,
took her own life
Germany's
Saturday.
Prime Minister Angela Merkel has said that she is willing to accept the United Kingdom's exit from the European Union. This stems from potential change to the United Kingdom's worker migration laws, which Merkel would like to preserve within the EU. British Prime Minister David Cameron, who is proposing, said changes is still willing to negotiate with the union over worker migration law, despite Merkel's warning. Sources say Cameron's goal is always to, quote, put Britain first.
The leader of the largest religious party in Bangladesh has been sentenced to death. Mir Qasim Ali was found guilty on 10 of the 14 charges against humanity that took place during the 1971 War of Independence from Pakistan. Ali is one of several leaders from the Jamaat-e-Islami group sentenced to death. Group members are planning a protest strike for Thursday.
A laser cannon has been developed in China. Its purpose? To shoot down small, low-flying drones. The weapon was designed by China's Academy of Engineering Physics, a government defense agency, and can reach a target in 5 seconds within a 1.2-mile radius. China's state-controlled news agency, Xinhua, noted that the laser was created to take down unmanned drones because they are the perfect weapon for terrorists. They believe this new cannon will be the future of combat. Bringing the news back home, let's throw the ball over to Matt McNamara with some world news. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Nadia. We had a lot of fascinating stuff going on in the sporting world during the week. The biggest news being the thrilling conclusion of this year's World Series, as the San Francisco Giants just edged out the Kansas City Royals 3-2 in Game 7, achieving their third World Series victory in the past 6 years. The biggest moments of the game were Joe Panik's amazing glove-flipping double play and Madison Bumgarner's lights-out performance out of the bullpen. Bumgarner would go on to win the World Series MVP, finishing the series with only 1 run allowed in 20 innings of work. The NBA season began this past week, with the biggest game of the week certainly being LeBron James' return to Cleveland. This was LeBron's first game back as a Cavalier after leaving the team for 4 years to win 2 NBA titles with the Miami Heat. LeBron certainly struggled on his first game back, scoring only 17 points with 8 turnovers, but he certainly looked better in his second game, putting up 36 points in the Cavs' very tightly contested win against the Bulls. Teams like the Rockets and Grizzlies are off to very hot starts, while other teams like the Lakers are still looking for their team identity and a victory. And now for a quick Marist Sports update. The Marist men's football team pulled out a thrilling last-second victory, just edging out Jacksonville 17-16 on a 29-yard touchdown from Anthony Francis to Armani Martin with 5 seconds left in the game. Marist improves to 3-6 overall with a 3-3 record in the Pioneer League. Marist men's soccer lost 2-0 on their senior night to Ryder, falling to 7-6-4 overall, 3-4-3 in the MAC. Marist women's volleyball lost its first game of the season at home this weekend, losing to Manhattan in straight sets to fall to 20-4 overall, with a 12-2 record in the MAC. That's all I have for sports this week. Back to you guys.
Have you ever wondered if the TSA actually finds anything harmful or illegal in their day-to-day job? Well, in the month of October alone, the TSA confiscated nearly 200 pistols from the baggage of passengers attempting to board planes with them. This is an astonishing number. 150 of these guns were actually loaded, some even with rounds in the chamber. Last week alone, they confiscated 41 guns. Among the most frightening finds, a 13-inch cane sword.
This past Friday, Virgin Galactic's Spaceship Two disintegrated above California, killing co-pilot Michael Tyner Alsbury. Co-pilot Peter Siebold was injured, but able to safely parachute to the ground. Virgin founder Richard Branson spoke above the tragedy yesterday, saying test pilots like Alsbury know, quote, "the risk is worth it." However, investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board will be analyzing the safety of the situation. The report could take up to a year to release, though aviation analysts suspect the accident may be due to the new plastic-based fuel that was tested during the flight.
Recently, the new Disney World attraction Seven Dwarfs Mine Train caught fire and parkgoers had to evacuate the ride. The ride opened on May 28th as part of the new Fantasyland expansion at Disney World. The fire was first reported at around 10 p.m. Saturday night and was extinguished by 11. The attraction reopened shortly after. The fire was most likely caused by nearby fireworks and was documented by Instagram and Twitter users all around the park. Now that's what I call a happily ever after. Almost not a happily ever after. I was just at Disney pretty recently. I saw this ride and God, that's terrible. So many young children there with their families.
I know, I don't think I would have been jumping at the fact of getting back on the ride after they opened it back up. You know, I think I'd be a little nervous about that.
Right. Ride catches fire, everything's fine. Just jump back on. No big deal.
I mean, it's Disney, the happiest place on earth.
Hey, and what a better place to have a happily ever after than Disney World.
Of course.
Right?
That's all the news we have for you tonight. Be sure to check out our Facebook and Twitter page listed below. I'm Nadia Ahmed.
And I am Peter Malavenda. Good night.